Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. Listen to me, okay? From Tony Guinea, do not buy Bitcoin here. BlackRock is using the ETF narrative to trap retail at the highs. It's going to create a bloodbath. Under no circumstance should you be FOMOing, guys. It's better to wait. And looks like a bull trap to me. This is Bitcoin on the hourly. So I've got it on the hourly right now. Yesterday we did hit a new high, $44,400. But guys, it does not look like we are making any more highs. And, we were kind of just teetering in this zone here, just around $44,000. And now within the last few hours, it looks like Bitcoin is coming back down. So right now we're seeing a Bitcoin price trading at around 43,100 per BTC. So we're going to see how this plays out. But, in terms of the pullback, there definitely is going to be one. So for my Patreon subscribers, I will let you know when I will be moving into another position. You can find all that information at patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. And if you're not signed up, it will be under the $5 a month tier. I only have one tier and I wanted to make it as affordable as possible so that as many people as possible can join and see what my trading journey is looking like this time around. So we've got the Bitcoin price retracing. Altcoins are also retracing. Interesting to see that XRP did make another push to the upside last night. We saw XRP trading at about 65 cents, 65 and a half roughly, but now that has also come down. We've got the crypto space market cap at 1.58 trillion. We've got 24-hour volume down a little bit, but Bitcoin dominance slowly creeping up. But guys, more importantly, check this out. Extreme greed. So now we have breached that 80% level, and now we're at 81. Extreme greed. So what do they say at this point? When the FOMOers are going to be FOMOing in, this is when the pullbacks usually occur. And so we got to pay very, very close attention to this market at this point. And we can see a little bit of red, a little bit of green, nothing really to write home about, but we're already seeing some of those heavy pumpers retrace, like Dogecoin is down 5.7%. What else do we got here? Toncoin down 3.27. We got Shiba Inu down 5.14. So the ones that generally did already pump quite a bit, we are likely going to see those retracements. And this could happen over the next few months. There is no doubting that for a second. Now, the narrative, that is the big story because they don't want us in crypto. And this is a mechanism, guys, the Bitcoin price pumping. This is a mechanism to kind of try to lure us in sneakily and then dump on us. Remember what the big guys are saying, okay? Larry Fink from BlackRock. This another one courtesy of Tony Guinea here. A great synopsis of how BlackRock's views have shifted, how they've flip-flopped. I'm going to say flip-flopped over the last several years. Listen to this.
People are speculating on it. But most importantly, what I think about most of these cryptocurrencies, it just identifies how much money laundering there is being done in the world.
What do you mean? Just studying it?
We're studying it. We're looking how they perform. We're looking at that type of data to understand it as we think about other products. But right now, I can tell you worldwide, I have not heard from one client who said, I need to be in this.
And there you go, Larry Fink giving his opinion on Bitcoin over the years. And as you guys can see, narrative shifting. Now, Ali here posting this. Bitcoin sits on a stable support, 42,700. This level is significant as 642,000 wallets have bought about 347,000 Bitcoin here. Should the bullish trend continue, we might see a push towards the next major supply zone, which is 47,000. However, I'm doubting we're going to see that. He says if 42,007 support breaks, all eyes will turn on the $38,000 mark as the next critical area to watch. So I think that is, at least as of now, I think that is where we're going to see Bitcoin price start to come down to $38,000. And it might go down even further. Again, we are still not that close to the halving. That is not happening until the end of April 2024. But guys, it is all about the narrative. Digital Asset by posting this. Welcome back, by the way. And I don't know what this was from, what document. Cryptocurrency will be made illegal. This is not a maybe. This is a warning. Nothing is left up to chance. Our world is always planned years in advance. If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail, and failure is not an option here. Allowing additional currencies to exist when the world is only using one would be disruptive, so it will not be tolerated, and it will be easier to stop you than you think. The illusion is that Bitcoin, for example, is untouchable. The reality is government controlled it through the use of mining pools. Any cryptocurrency aiming to be a decentralized digital currency will not survive. The one that we use has been chosen already. So alluding to maybe XRP there, he was retweeting out Sam Lyman's tweet here, just talking about the crypto landscape in the US, CBDCs, and Elizabeth Warren. So all pointing towards, what they want for us. Listen to this.
Why does she hate Bitcoin? Because it's the antithesis of a central bank digital currency. And that's her long-term goal, is to implement a CBDC over time. But in order to prepare the soil for that, she has to make that soil radioactive for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And that's what she's aiming to do with her AML bill. This bill essentially would make it practically illegal for a teenager mining Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency in his mom's basement. He would have to comply with the same regulatory burdens that a bank like Goldman Sachs has to do. In other words, it would be impossible, right? It would make it illegal to practically touch cryptocurrency or Bitcoin in the United States. But that's by design. Elizabeth Warren intends to do that because if she can get regulations in place that make it impossible to do anything Bitcoin related in the US, she knows she'll drive innovation offshore. And that essentially prepares the way for a CBDC, which is what I believe she's been trying to do this whole time.
The CBDC is the end game, guys. Keep your eye on the prize. We've been getting a lot. I got a lot of video clips today. We've been getting some more comments from some prominent figures. In this case, JP Morgan is now full circle again. And I think you'll probably understand after you see this clip here. Watch this.
Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon says the government should put a stop to crypto. In a Senate Banking Committee hearing on Wednesday, Senator Elizabeth Warren asked Dimon to explain why crypto is a, quote, attractive tool for terrorists, drug traffickers, and rogue nations. This is how he responded.
I've always been deeply opposed to crypto, Bitcoin, etc. You pointed out the only true use case for it is criminals, drug traffickers, anti-money laundering, tax avoidance, and that is a use case because it is somewhat anonymous, not fully, and because you can move money instantaneously, and because it doesn't go through, as you mentioned, all these systems that have built up over many years, know your customers, sanctions, OFAC, they can get bypass all of that. If I was the government, I'd close it down.
Jamie Dimon has famously been opposed to crypto for years, telling CNBC Bitcoin is a hyped-up fraud at the beginning of this year. Finally, the IRS says it's chasing more and more crypto tax evasion. The agency's Criminal Investigation Division released its annual report this month, where it said that increased use of digital assets has coincided with a rise in digital asset tax investigations. The agency said those investigations consist of unreported income from capital gains, mining income and wages, gambling payouts, and rental income paid in crypto. The IRS also said it's seeing taxpayers fail to disclose ownership of crypto in an attempt to shield holdings.
So it is heating up. I guess the main point there was Jamie Dimon's comment. Now, I guess you would think that was a fairly old comment, kind of like how we saw Larry Fink talk about Bitcoin back in 2017 and 2018. No, actually, no, that is a brand new comment. And the Grayscale CEO has fired back on Jamie Dimon's desire to close down cryptocurrency, this one courtesy of Michael Branch here. So at a time when Bitcoin has rallied, comfortably surpassing the $40,000 mark, JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon has continued his long-term opposition to the digital asset, suggesting that U.S. lawmakers should ban cryptocurrencies altogether. But Grayscale Investment CEO Michael Sonnenschein, during an interview with Yahoo Finance, fired back at Dimon. This is supposed to say December 7th. He fired back on Dimon, asserting that Bitcoin is considered a technology investment or a risk asset, while affirming that the cryptocurrency is here to stay. And this is a quote here from Michael Sonnenschein. I think every executive, particularly in the financial services space, is going to have their own opinion on new technologies and whether that's crypto or Bitcoin specifically. But if you take a big step back, there is no question that this asset class is here to stay. That investor interest in this asset class is only growing. So why the about face, Jamie? Why the about face? The bearable bull here commenting, imagine being so arrogant that you sit there telling the world that crypto is used for nothing but illicit activities when you've been guilty of or paid fines for silver manipulation, fraud, securities abuse, cheating worker pay, and deleting evidence, and the list goes on. So guys, again, this was a clip from just yesterday. I believe it was actually December the 6th. And, this clip just kind of echoes the sentiment from what we heard here from that congressional meeting. So I'm not going to play that clip again, but I will link this in the description for you guys if you just want a refresher. Wanted to thank the Bearable Bull for that. So I guess the criticism surrounding crypto is still kind of remaining the same. But, luckily we got guys like Will Clement here, based community notes, when they have those little notes at the bottom of tweets to try to give you context to what somebody is tweeting about. Well, less than 1% of the trillions transacted annually in crypto are illicit. The UN estimates that annually between 2% to 5% of global GDP, $80 billion to $2 trillion is used for illicit activities and money laundering through the traditional banking system and cash. So, who put it? I forget who it was who said, basically, if a new technology, basically it's just a medium, banking has been, used for money laundering for decades, centuries. And if you do have a new technology like cryptocurrency and advancements there, you're going to see criminals shift to a new technology because it's just something else that they can use. So, to blame money laundering on cryptocurrency is whack. But the problem is the plebes are going to believe it. At the same time, the plebes are going to see Bitcoin rallying and, all this news about a BlackRock ETF, so on and so forth. And, the proof is in the pudding, obviously. So don't be fooled, guys. This is going to retrace. We can already see it happening. And to be honest, I did think it was going to happen sooner than this. But 44,000, okay, fine, I'll take it. When this does retrace, though, I have my money on the sideline looking to get into some more altcoins, maybe down cost average, and add to my $10,000 plus crypto portfolio that I have at patreon.com/workingmoneychannel for my patrons. You guys can get all the information there if you want to see what I am trading this time around. Because this narrative is not scaring me one bit. Now, interesting from Fojack, Mr. Poole posted this back in 2019. BASEL 3. We have been talking about BASEL 3 over the years and how it's going to change the landscape for banks. And, a new development just came out of Congress yesterday. He retweeted out Racketed's tweet here. Did she just say BASEL 3 endgame? So this is another news report here from Fox Business. Listen to this.
Hillary, what are the business leaders telling Congress?
Hi, Lydia. Well, all 7 bank CEOs that were here in front of lawmakers today raised their hands when asked if raising capital requirements would end up hurting everyday Americans. The new changes known as Basel III Endgame would change capital requirements for financial institutions. But all 7 CEOs raised their hands when asked if changing these rules would hurt first-time home buyers, people saving for retirement, farmers and ranchers, and small business owners. The collapse of Silicon Valley Bank earlier this year raised attention to the possible need for more regulations, but Bank of America's CEO Brian Moynihan says Basel III would not have prevented that from happening.
Silicon Valley didn't threaten the U.S. economy. It could have been resolved, and it was resolved.
Well, why did the president, act so swiftly if there wasn't such a concern?
You'd have to ask the people. We didn't think that all that could have been resolved differently.
Crypto was also a big topic of this hearing today. Senator Warren pressed a lot of these CEOs about the role of crypto and how it's utilized by terrorist organizations. Jamie Dimon said that he would close down crypto if he was the government. Of course, these banks have a vested interest in trying to close down crypto because then that would mean more money would be funneling through their institutions. Lydia?
So it sounds like the Fox Business Report is right on top of it. As you can see, Jamie Dimon was also one of those bankers that was criticizing the Basel III, but also the fact that crypto is going to influence the banking sector, and bankers don't like that. Guys, it's all been part of this narrative for so long now, starting from the bearable guy, Castle Riddle, and now we got Mr. Poole, this older tweet from Mr. Poole tweeting out Basel III from back in November of 2019. And now, guys, here we have it. Capitol Hill, Fox Business Report. All of the bankers, you see them all raising their hand and not too happy with the Basel III changes. They are all opposed to these changes. Jamie Dimon also went on the record criticizing the Basel III endgame. This one courtesy of XRP Drops here on Twitter. Listen to this.
Zero evidence that U.S. banks are undercapitalized today. The proposed Basel III endgame rule, 10 years in the making, shockingly, if enacted, would increase capital requirements by about 25% for the largest banks. None of these proposed changes, by the way, would have effectively prevented the Silicon Valley Bank failure. The rule would have predictable and harmful outcomes to the economy, markets, business of all sizes, and American households in ways the Federal Reserve has not studied, contemplated, or shared. Mortgages and small business loans would be more expensive and harder to access, particularly for low to moderate income borrowers, as costs for originating and securitizing loans rise. Savings for retirement or college will yield lower returns as costs rise for asset managers, money market funds, and pension funds. Government infrastructure projects will become more expensive as capital requirements for market activities will more than double, translating to higher costs to build hospitals, bridges, and roads. From beverage companies that need to manage aluminum costs to farms that need to protect against environmental risks, if the cost of hedging these risks increases, everything from a can of soda to meat products will be impacted. Ironically, a proposal meant to mitigate risk will actually increase risk. This rule will result in an increased shift away from regulated markets to less regulated markets, which was not also studied, by the way, and this activity will be out of the sight of regulators unable to see the next crisis brewing. I fear that the proposed now, study later, is becoming a troublesome new theme in Washington. There have been a number of consumer-focused products, caps and late fees or interest rates, cuts to debit interchange, to name a few, where virtually no economic analysis has been performed to determine the individual or collective impact of these rules on consumers, small businesses, lower-income families, markets, or the economy. The debate should not always be about more or less regulation, about the right regulations to keep America's banking system the best in the world.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. He does go on for about another 30 seconds to kind of finalize his point there, but you notice he's, blaming Basel III on everything under the sun. He's not mentioning how the banking sector is going to be affected, but how, these rules are going to affect the American public. And this is why he's, calling the Basel III amendments harmful. So to put things into perspective here from Mr. Hubert, JP Morgan is now full circle. And I think it doesn't have to do with Basel. I think it's more complicated than this. Basel III is part of it, but what it really has to do with, guys, is crypto adoption. Jamie Dimon would close down Bitcoin if he were the government. So this was the latest from December 2023. Back in 2018, Jamie Dimon says he regrets calling Bitcoin a fraud and believes in the technology behind it. In 2020, JP Morgan CEO held secret meetings with Coinbase. And this was from January 2023. JP Morgan CEO slams Bitcoin as a hyped up fraud and pet rock. And then we got, December 2017, JP Morgan, I'm open-minded, uses of cryptocurrencies with regulation. So there you have it. They're not really in order, but you can see he's flip-flopping back and forth just based on market sentiment. And guys, again, we've got to be very, very careful what they say. Always pay attention to what they're doing and not what they're saying. Now, with regards to XRP, Ripple adoption, and Basel III, I saw this. This came out from the Maxis Crypto Exchange blog from a couple of weeks ago. And notice this, okay? They talk about the XRP lawsuit and the agenda there, but now global interest in XRP surges among banks. Despite legal headwinds, Ripple has continued to expand its global network and partnerships, with XRP gaining substantial traction among international banks eager to leverage its prowess in cross-border payments. The Basel Committee on Bank Supervision's recent report reveals a burgeoning interest in XRP within the financial banking sector. Of the 182 banks participating in the Basel III monitoring exercise, 19 submitted crypto data, revealing a combined exposure of 9.4 billion euros or $10 billion. XRP stands out as the third largest altcoin. And so we took a look at this already a few weeks ago out of context. But now, guys, now that we know Basel III and these amendments are really what banks are eyeing now, tying it together with cryptocurrency and XRP being that dominant crypto, the Basel III report not only provides valuable insight into banks' crypto exposure, it also serves as a benchmark for understanding the position of cryptocurrencies in the financial sector. Despite comprising only 0.05% of the total financial commitment under Basel III, the 19 banks' crypto asset exposure spotlight a growing acceptance of digital assets within the traditional financial institutions. And so just to give you guys just maybe a little bit, maybe I should have done this earlier, but to give you guys a sense of what Basel III is. Basel III is an international agreed set of measured developments by the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision in response to the financial crisis of 2007 to 2009. And guys, this is put out by the Bank for International Settlement. So this is not an American organization. This is a global organization. They want these standards across all banks around the world. Like the Basel III Committee standards, Basel III standards are minimum requirements which apply to internationally active banks. Members are committed to implementing and applying standards in their jurisdictions within the time frame established by the committee. So the MEX Exchange or MEXC Exchange, they're clearly on top of it. Basel Committee has mentioned Ripple and XRP as that dominant settlement currency. And you can click on this link here if you want to see the BIS's report on that. Yet banks in the U.S. fighting back on, Basel III and crypto at large. I can see clearly where these riddlers' heads were at back in 2019. Still a great opportunity to purchase what will be one of the most influential cryptocurrencies out there. That's just my opinion, though. Of course, not financial advice, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.